We got a battle of the bigs, a couple of them in Serie A, and a surprise team in the Bundesliga continues their strides.
Spain in La Liga has a 1-point race at the top, and in the Prem, it's the hate watch of the season. All of this and more on episode 109 of the No Business Soccer Podcast News. Kick us off.
Let's dig in. Welcome back, everyone, to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we're here with the full fam. We got Brainiac J-Fam in the back. We got Danny P on the ones and twos, and of course, my boy Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, today I have a low bottle, and you know, whenever you have a low bottle, you get a lot of air in there. It can oxidize, so you got to get rid of it, right? So what we're getting rid of is John J. Bowman. It's a single barrel. I actually only got a little bit from our boy Blake Snooze. We even got this his cup, the Nerds at Night. So I'm using this to go and kill this bottle. So you'll see me pour the rest of this here in just a few minutes. This won't take long at all. And
yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be gone in like two sips.
Oh yeah, I forgot stewed cherries just right off the nose. Absolutely amazing. And yeah, just you give that oak presence, but yeah, getting past that stewed cherries is really hard. But while I take a sip of this amazing elixir, go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube, wherever you're listening to. It's the best way to say, hey, maybe these guys are pretty cool to listen to and hang out with. And cheers, everyone.
See, that is a quality glass, a quality ting, and it sets the mood right. Okay. Well, as he's swallowing, let's just talk about what we're going to be doing today. We have a full slate of games this weekend. We have Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and of course the Prem. We're going to be covering it all. But before we jump into that, we got a ziti in the oven. And it's going to be a baked ziti once it's done. Apparently that's how it works. That's so my boys are telling me. I don't know if that's true at all. If it isn't, you just let us know in the comments. But yeah, apparently it's just a ziti until it's done in the oven. Then that's the baked ziti right there. But yeah, we're going to rock and roll because also Hype Man Vic, he's hosting a party tonight that we're not invited to. Apparently none of us are invited to.
All of you are invited to it. Everybody listening, you're invited to.
No, he's like, yeah, we got to get done early because I got like people coming over and we're like, oh, well, let me check the my phone. I don't remember seeing the invite on there. So anyway, yeah, we got to hurry up for this guy. So before we jump into the leagues, we're going to go and cover all of the action that happened around Europe this week. And it's a great time to be back in place where we're almost in February. Crazy. Ay. So let's do it. Let's go to the UEFA competition wrap-up. And if you recall, since the last time we spoke, there's actually been a lot of games going on. But the European, I think the last thing that we covered in Europe was our vlog. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Whenever I caught Aston Villa taking on Basel in Switzerland, which is a very, very fun game. And this is the next European match day since then. So, man, got a lot to cover. If you remember, Conference League they're on I would say a bye week, but it's not a week. It's like 2 months. They are already into the next round, and that will be on, I want to say February 19th, if I remember correctly. So the Conference League is not playing for the next 2 match days that the Champions League and the Europa League are playing in. And so with that said, we'll go first to the Europa League. And we had a big matchup between some of the top teams in this. And actually, we're going to go over the tables too, because there's only one more match day after this. So first off, we have the teams that we covered. Freiburg took on Maccabi Tel Aviv, and they won that 1-0. Bologna had to come back from 2-0 down to Celtic, but they ended up getting that win done. Not a win, but they draw 2-2. We also have Vic, he loves young boys. They lost to Lyon 1-0. Also, his favorite, Midtjylland, taking on Brann. It was a 3-3 draw, man. And Midtjylland is actually very, very good. They're one of the top teams in this competition right now. We'll talk about the table here in a moment. Real Betis does not get the better of PAOK, which is, man, Betis up and down, up and down. We'll talk about their big matchups coming this weekend. Aston Villa beats Fenerbahce 1-0. Always hard to beat those Turkish teams, especially whenever you go to Istanbul. Nottingham Forest loses to Braga. Who else do we got here, Vic? We have Roma and Stuttgart. That was the big one. Yes, that was the big one. 2-0 to Roma. Roma, they're usually not a goal-scoring feast, but 2 goals from the young guy. I can't remember his name right now. I'm blanking. But, yeah, their young forward gets the 2 goals there and beats Stuttgart. And Celta Vigo gets the 2-1 win over Lille. Now, if you want to check out the full scores, you can go ahead and do that. We're just covering the teams that we cover weekly, daily, it feels like here. And so looking at the table, though, Vic, the surprise team at the top of the Europa League table, Lyon. That is striking because there's a lot of teams in here that you would expect that are in a better position. But Lyon is the top team. And I don't know if you know all the turmoil that's been happening with them inside or I guess in France and a lot of the money struggles they're in. They almost got relegated. And look at them here, the top of the freaking table in the Europa League, at least going into the last match day. Right underneath them is Aston Villa, then Freiburg, and then Midtjylland. There you go. The teams with the buys, though, we still have Betis and Roma up there, Vic. They're getting through. Bye weeks. Some good stuff.
Let's do it. Heck yeah.
Of course, the teams. Was that?
So the goat at Betis is still
yes.
There. They're in the top 8. Yeah.
Roma, I believe this was their first loss. Yeah, this was their first loss for this season in Europa League. So doing pretty good overall. My FC Basel, they are struggling. 3 losses in a row in the Europa League, 4 out of the last 5. So not a good time to be in Basel. Okay, that is it for the Europa League. Let's go to the Champions League. And Vic, we had a hell of a midweek matchup between a lot of these different teams, but the one that stands out the most, I wouldn't say it's a hell of a matchup. It's actually just a hell of a surprise. That was Manchester City losing to Bodo Glimt 3-1. And this was in the Arctic Circle. And man, that is insane. City has struggled, and we talked about it going into the weekend or into the this match day, the match day 7, because at the weekend we saw a bunch of the big teams struggling, and even in the table, the top of the Premier League table, Vic, I think it was like the top 5 teams didn't win or haven't won or something like that in a while.
Yeah, so not in two games they haven't won.
Yes,
not one single win.
So that just wondering how they would do in Europe, and Man City continued that trend. Another shocking result, though, Ajax getting the better of Villarreal, who we'll talk about them in a moment whenever we get to the table. But Tottenham Hotspur, my Spurs, taking on Dortmund, and this was in London, though, so a little bit of a throw you a bone there. Get a 2-0. That was fun to watch. Another surprising one, Sporting getting the better of the reigning champion PSG. That is crazy. Sporting Lisbon. The big match of the weekend, though, or I keep saying weekend, the big match of the week or this match day was Arsenal versus Inter, Vic. And Arsenal absolutely dominated 3-1. I mean, that just shows you, because Arsenal had not been great. Inter had been winning and winning and winning. And this is what happens. I don't know. Does that show you levels? What do you see from that?
I do. Yeah, because that also goes in hand in hand with what we were talking about in our last episode, is that if Arsenal had not beaten Bayern Munich, we would be talking about Bayern Munich being the best team that's probably ever been assembled in any league the past maybe 30 years. But yeah, maybe there's levels to that. The Prem might be on a different level. They're still absolutely dominating teams in the Champions League, and Europa League not so much, but still doing really well.
That is true, because we're going to talk about the rest of the games right now, and you'll see exactly what Vic was alluding to, because Liverpool, who also have been struggling at the top of the Premier League table, they beat Marseille 3-0. Marseille is one of the better teams in Ligue 1. We also had Newcastle beating PSV 3-0. PSV on a tear. They've been fantastic, and 3-0 walloping by Newcastle. Chelsea getting a 1-0 over Pafos, which it is what it is. Liam Rossigna is just taking over. He's trying to get it done. Bayern get a 2-0 over Union Saint-Gilloise, and then Athletic Club going to Bergamo to take on Atalanta and getting the 3-2 win. Oh, I didn't mention Juve. Came back from that Cagliari defeat. Look at that. Your boy Christian's happy. They get a 2-0 over Benfica. Oh. And who's the Benfica coach? That is Jose Mourinho, who coached in Serie A and is a big. Any coach, any team that he coached, like the rivals hate him, and so Juve is definitely in that camp. So getting a win over Benfica with him as the manager is a good thing. So. That's the roundup for this Matchday 7 in the Champions League. A lot of surprises, a lot of crazy things happen. And I think that the thing I'll take out of this is that it feels like no matter how bad, if the teams in the top of the Prem are right now, or not even in the top, because Spurs are nowhere near the top, but the teams that are in the Champions League that are in the Prem, they just find a way to get it done against these European oppositions. I mean, if we look at the table now, the top 8 automatically go through into the next round. They don't have to play that playoff round, I guess is what they're calling it. 8 teams. Of those 8 teams, 5 of them are from the Prem. Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Newcastle, and Chelsea. The only ones that aren't are Bayern, Real Madrid, and PSG. That is crazy. And we're talking about big teams and of course, there's still one more match day to go. So, but Barcelona are not in there. Atletico Madrid are not. Inter are not. Of course, we just talked about it. Dortmund, Juve, all these teams are going to be in the playoff round, but they're not going to go automatically through. And if it ends up being 5 teams from the Prem that get through that automatic, the bye week, I guess we'll call it. It feels right. It is a bye week, so it's like it feels like we should just call it that. That's comfortable for us here in the States. But anyway, crazy stuff. I think the biggest surprises, though, has to be Napoli being outside. If it ended today, as you say, they would not be going on. They are 25th and only 24 move on to the next round. So Napoli, big surprise there. The other, I want to say probably bigger, is Villarreal. Villarreal have lost 6 of their 7 matches, and we'll talk more in depth here in a moment, but just realize how bad they have been in Europe. I didn't notice it until I saw all the red on the table. I mean, golly.
So they have 1 draw. They don't even have a win. So 1 draw, right. 6 losses. Yeah. And it was to Juve, who it tells you a little bit how their season has gone too. So, I mean, even Spurs beat Villarreal. Come on, that is not a good look for them. Do you see who's above them? Our boys, Slavia Praha.
And right above them, Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah.
It was crazy seeing, I don't know if I mentioned it, but Barcelona were playing at Slavia Praha, and it was just like, that is insane to think about. Like, imagine us seeing Barcelona at that little stadium,
I think they went up first, too. They might have got the first goal.
They did, yeah. They did.
Yeah.
It was 2-2 for a while. It was 2-2 for a while. I thought they were going to get it done. And then, of course, Barcelona does what Barcelona does, and they end up winning 4-2. So what can you do? Okay. I think we're good to go for the European wrap-up or the UEFA competition roundup. Let's move on to this weekend's action, and then we'll get you out of here so you can get your party going. Okay, champ? Let's go to Italy.
To Serie A. But first, I'm sorry, Italians. I know you want to get to see out. There's a lot of slander going on right now. Okay, I found out last night that we're gonna be at my house today, and this morning I invited all of them here, but we have to record tonight, so that's the reason. Also, I like the team Young Boys. He was talking about that earlier. I like the team Young Boys. Don't take that out of context or anything like that.
What context could it possibly be taken out of? I mean, come on.
The internet's crazy. AI is going just absolutely insane.
Just making sure. Okay, fair enough. Thanks for those. What are they called? PSAs.
Well,
okay.
Yes.
Well, going into this match day, not a lot of notes because there was the European matches, and then also the transfer windows. I mean, we're only open for another week and a half. We, as in like it's our transfer window. The transfer window is only open for like a week and a half more. So there's a lot of rumors, things swirling around. Not a ton of notes and news and notes coming out of Italy at the moment. So Vic, I think they are ready. Let's talk about match day
22.
There you go.
And of course, we will start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Serie A match day 22. And our first match is number 5, Juve fighting to return to Champions League places as they welcome number 3, Napoli.
Juve lose to Cagliari, then beat Benfica. Napoli beat Sassuolo. Then they scrape by with a draw against Copenhagen and are on the verge of being knocked out of the Champions League, as we just said. But this is still a battle of the biggest clubs in Serie A, and they are both in the top 5. And Napoli only 6 points back from Inter for the Scudetto. With all the injuries piling up for Napoli, I think they try to play this one safe and snag 3 points because they'll need it to stay in the title race. Inter have a much easier task with Pisa on the road, and Napoli could find themselves 9 to 8 points back if they can't find a way to get this win. Juve, on the other hand, had the hand is dropped. I guess we could say too many points. Like they have dropped too many points that were in their hand is what I'm trying to say, Vic. They were right there for the taking and they dropped them. I screwed that one up, but you get my point. The grasp they had on those just went through it like sand. Or isn't there what you like Thanos, like it just just people just disappeared. That's how it felt for a bunch of these Juve games. They could have done a lot better. But anyway, they can't concern themselves with the title. And all they're going to be looking for is getting into Europe and hopefully into the Champions League again. Hopefully they can do a little better. I mean, they're the knockout rounds, but you get what I'm saying. But because Como and Atalanta have been on a tear in Serie A, and the team they're closest to catching is Juve. So yes, Juve are right there, but if they end up losing to Napoli and they don't get points, and Como and Atalanta take advantage, man, they're going to have them breathing down their neck, and that is not in a good place to be.
And our next match is a top 4 clash as number 2 Milan go on the road to take on, number 2 Milan go on the road to take on number 4 Roma.
Now that we're well into the second half of the season, this matchup between 2 and 4 on the table is massive in the title race. With the Milan win, they stay in the hunt, but could put Roma 10 points back from Inter and essentially call it on their run, because Roma has been back into the title contention. I guess they're getting themselves back into the race, but yeah, Milan could win and completely knock that away. But Roma gets the win, and it would put them right there with Milan in the thick of the title race to keep things interesting. For the Mutual, having a genuine 4-team battle for the Scudetto going into February would be really, really cool. And Roma have been on a tear in Serie A lately, and they brought in Robinho Vaz from Marseille and Daniel Malin from Villa. I honestly don't know which way this one goes. In the reverse fixture, if you recall, it was 1-0 to Milan at San Siro. So I think let's just see how it happens at our old stomping grounds, Stadio Olimpico.
That's it. And those are your top matches for Serie A Match Day 22. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day, and it starts on Friday as the matchmakers apparently had some beef with Pisa, putting them against the number 1's Inter in a primetime slot.
Pisa have been scrappy the past couple of games, though. They've earned draws in both of them, but they'll need a little bit more than just being scrappy against the firepower of Inter. And they go into the San Siro and take the league. They take on the league leaders Inter, but I don't really see this one being too big of an issue. I mean, we did just see Inter get done up by Arsenal, but that is a completely different beast than Pisa. So I expect 3 points for Inter.
We then move to Saturday as Torino look to end a 3-game skid against the Como team, who is trying to get back-to-back wins.
Como battered our Lazio, and now they get the beaten and broken Torino, who have lost 4 of their last 5 in Serie A, with 3 straight losses coming into this match. Unfortunately for Torino, I can really only see this going one way. Como, they're doing really good. I think they can get 3 points here too. And maybe I need to put money on these because I'm actually pretty confident on these, and I know how it happens, Vic. I'm never right, so.
Immediately cursed. So
yeah, right. Exactly.
Saturday continues with our boys in purple, fresh out of the relegation zone. Of course, Fiorentina taking on the only other team outside of the top 6 to get a win last week in Cagliari.
Now that Fiorentina got through their run of tough matches, they get a juicy one against Cagliari, who are just above them in the table by 5 points. Our Viola have a ton of work to do to still ensure safety, but a win against Cagliari would be a huge step in making sure that they stay in Serie A going into next season. Let's not forget that this Cagliari team are coming off a win over Juve, so they're going to be hyped up for this match. But man, Fiorentina, if they can get 3 points on a team that's directly above them, this is a big, big deal.
And then Saturday ends with the Milkmen Lecce welcoming Lazio in a clash of 2 teams with only 1 win between them for all of 2026.
The Milkmen have 4 losses in a row and are now in the bottom 3. Lazio need to take advantage here, because if they can't, it could be some bad times in Rome, on the blue side of Rome anyway. And Lazio, man, if they cannot get a win here, I'm not saying that sorry is going, but I'm just saying I would be sorry to see that happen. You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
Good
Not
joke,
bad,
huh?
not bad.
Dad jokes.
We then move on to Sunday, and it's a newly promoted battle between Sassuolo and the visiting Cremonese.
Two surprise table neighbors go at it, and it's not so much a surprise that two newly promoted sides would be next to each other in the table, because that makes sense. What's a surprise is that they're both just below mid-table, and the winner can get themselves above that, which is really cool at this point in the season. I don't think last season, or even the one before, we saw too much of that happening. So Sassuolo, Cremonese, big game. A draw probably does good for both of them, but I know they're coming for more.
And then Sunday continues with Atalanta looking to close the gap on the European competition places, and they very well could do so against Parma.
Atalanta aren't doing bad in Serie A right now, but they'll want to bounce back from that loss to Athletic Club in the Champions League. Parma have been decent at not losing, though, with only one loss in their last 5 matches.
In our next match are two teams looking for any kind of momentum. It's Bologna headed to Genoa.
Genoa, like Parma, have been good at not losing, but Bologna absolutely need to win this one to feel something, and maybe that draw against Celtic is the one that's going to spur them on. They're in a free fall in the league, though. They've been great in Europe. I mean, they did, like I was saying, they get the win, but they got the draw. But they've been great in Europe. Now we just need to translate that over to Serie A.
And our Sunday ends with the two No Business Soccer podcast top matches of the week that we talked about already. That was Juve and Napoli, and Roma versus Milan. So let's go to Monday Night Football, and it's mid-table Udinese visiting bottom of the table Verona.
Verona will hope that their home crowd can spur them on to some points, because they are bottom of the table, but only on goal differential at the moment. Udinese aren't the toughest out for them, but they're mid-table for a reason. It'll be tough for them to get a point.
And that's a wrap on your matches for match day 22 in Serie A. Do we want to take a refresher of the table? Do we have that up? I don't know if we're going to take a refresher or not. That might have been a curveball for the producers.
If not, no big deal.
Maybe not. Well, it's I can at least read it off. But of course, Inter Milan and AC Milan take on your number 1 and 2 spots. They have 49 and 46 points. Number 3 is Napoli right now. They have 43 points. And then rounding out your top 4 is Roma with 42 points. 3 points behind them, tickling the top 4, is Juve in the number 5 spot. And then our relegation spots do start with the Milkmen Lecce. They are in the 18th spot with 17 points. Pisa are in the 19th spot. They have 14 points. And then, like I just said, Hellas Verona, a solid foundation for Serie A with 14 points as well on the bottom of the table in the 20th spot. And we ended up, I had to bring up a table, but it was there. My bad. I could have used one on there. I had faith in you guys. I promise.
There you go. You got it done
all the time.
They got it done back there. Look at them balling. Okay. That is it for Serie A. I'm looking forward to those big matches, seeing how the table shapes up. With that said, let's move on to Germany.
Let's do it. To Bundesliga.
And we do have some news and notes from Germany, from the Bundesliga. Eintracht Frankfurt have sacked Dino Topmöller following the 3-3 draw with Werder Bremen last weekend. His Eintracht team have conceded 39 goals in 18 Bundesliga games, Vic, which is joint worst in the league, with only Heidenheim, who've been at the bottom of the table for most of the season. They're not on the bottom right now, but they were for most of the season. They just lost on the road to Karabag in the Europa League. And right now it's just bad times in Frankfurt. The thing is, Topmöller, he was never brought in to be a defensive-minded manager. He's the guy, if you recall, they just sold off Marmoush and Ekitike, who made them look really, really good and make those big money moves possible to the Prem. And this season, Chano Zun was shaping up to be the next man up, but it will not be with Dino Topmöller, as he is out in Eintracht Frankfurt. Okay, that is it for the notes, though. Let's move on to the match day.
Let's do it. And of course, we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Bundesliga match day 19. And your top match is your Can It Be number 3's Hoffenheim, hoping they can turn Eintracht Frankfurt's 4-game winless streak into 5.
And I will say this was easily going to be the best matchup on the slate at the beginning of the week. I choose these before writing in all the details. I kind of like look at the schedule. I'm like, yeah, this one will be the best one. But since then, Dino Topmuller, like we just talked about, been sacked. So it's I don't really know what to expect, especially after Eintracht just went on the road in the Champions League and lost to Katterbach. I assume they'll still play some front-footed attacking football, throw caution to the wind, but with an interim manager at and the surprise third team coming in to Frankfurt, it's hard to say how they'll treat this one. But on the other end, Hoffenheim just got thrown a bone in the European place race. If they can get 3 easy points on the road to a direct rival for those European places, it's a big, big deal, because I promise you, and they see Eintracht Frankfurt on the road in their schedule, they weren't penciling in 3 points before. The problem is now they'll be expected to go on the road and get the result. So let's see if they can deal with those expectations and as favorites.
And that's it. That is your top matchup for Bundesliga match day 19. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day. And it starts on Saturday with bottom of the table teams fighting to get any points. It's St. Pauli welcoming Hamburg.
And I know that if you are a Bundesliga purist or just a German soccer purist, you'll probably see this one and say, how is this one not the top match? Because it's the Hamburg derby between St. Pauli and Hamburg. These teams hate each other. It is one of the biggest ones, the biggest derbies they have in Germany, right outside of, we're talking Bayern and Dortmund, Schalke and Dortmund. Like, this one's one that is up there. The problem is both the teams haven't been great for a while. St. Pauli is the more established team in the Bundesliga as far as the past 2-3 seasons go. But they're bottom of the table now, and Hamburg just got promoted. They're doing decent, but they're the lowest scoring team. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, it means a lot, but it doesn't mean it's going to be interesting, because I don't see there being a lot of goals. It's an important matchup for the newly promoted Hamburg side, as they could put some distance between them and a direct relegation rival in St. Pauli, and of course a real life rival, not just in the table. Both teams are bottom in the Bundesliga in scoring, though, so don't expect a lot from this one. Do expect a lot of drama and fire, but I don't see a lot of goals in this one.
And before we move on to Saturday, Snooze, I know you saw me empty this bottle. We are done. But luckily,
I did.
Luckily, I always keep a bottle of Stag nearby. So I'm going to go ahead and finish with this pour and this episode with Stag. It's a store pick from last year that we had. Of course, you get immediate stewed cherries. And immediate. But let's go ahead and go on to Saturday, and it starts with your weekly sacrifice to the champions as Bayern Munich welcome the lowly Augsburg.
I like that. I like looking at it as like the sacrifice of the week to the gods in German soccer. Augsburg were better at the time these two played earlier in the season, and Bayern ended up winning that pretty easily. Now Bayern are way better and Augsburg are way worse. I just say good luck to you, Augsburg.
Saturday continues with Leipzig looking to bounce back, and they are primed to do so as they head to Heidenheim.
Leipzig played well, but caved late against Bayern, and it got embarrassing in the end. Now they're sitting there with 3 losses in their last 5 and needing a win. It should come against a team in Heidenheim, though, that have been towards the bottom of the table for a while now, and I expect that Leipzig will get it done here.
And our next matchup is one I had a lot of trouble finding anything cool to say about, so Wolfsburg heads to Mainz.
I don't know what to think of Mainz anymore, because every time I think they're ready to turn things around, they shit the bed and we start the series all over. Wolfsburg aren't great, but they'll probably still beat Mainz at this point. And like Vic, that's all I can say about this one.
Next up, we have Leverkusen looking to bounce back from 2 straight losses as they welcome Werder Bremen.
Man, Leverkusen come back from the winter break and just can't defend anymore. They don't know how. And they got blown out at home against Stuttgart. They lose to Hoffenheim, and then they lose to Olympiacos in the Champions League, which I don't even remember if I mentioned that. It was just such a bad performance by them. They'll really need a toss-up match here to start feeling themselves again, and Werder Bremen might just be what the doctor ordered, because they have not been great either.
And your next match was your No Business Soccer podcast top matchup of the week that we already talked about. That was Eintracht Frankfurt and Hoffenheim. We already talked about it, so we'll move on to the end of Saturday. Ooh, as the best of the rest, Borussia Dortmund head to the always rowdy Union Berlin. I almost burped way loud on all of you guys. I'm sorry.
That's real good mukbang on this podcast there. Is that mukbang? I don't know. Maybe that's more like a fetish, I guess. You're burping into the mic, huh?
Yeah.
And some people
either way, people have turned out.
Hey, we're not kink shaming here, right? No kink shaming. If you like burps, hey, my boy got some burps for you, okay? But that's on the Patreon. Dortmund are still in prime position to finish second behind Bayern and go through the next round of the Champions League. But with losses, with the loss of Spurs and the vibes, they just kind of feel off a bit for this Dortmund side. Union Berlin are a scrappy mid-table team that haven't lost any of their last 5 in the Bundesliga, and Europe is still not out of the question at this point. I think Dortmund will have a tough time on the road, but man, Union Berlin, it's just hard seeing them beat a team like a blue blood like Dortmund, but I think maybe a high-scoring draw. How about that?
I like it. And then we move on to everyone's favorite Sunday, as VfB Stuttgart look to remove the red from the recent form chart as they take on the mid-table Borussia Mönchengladbach.
I think Stuttgart were feeling themselves a little bit too much in their last matchup against Union Berlin, and they got another test in Gladbach coming through. It should be an easier test this time, though, since Gladbach have only won once in their last 5 games. But let's not get let's not get cute this time, Stuttgart. Let's just get that win and go home.
And your match day 19 ends with Freiburg looking to not be forgotten in the European competition conversations, but our cute little mascot Cologne are also trying to make a run.
The Black Forest boys against the little goats that could. Hey, I forgot I'm wearing a shirt today. Look at that. Freiburg have come storming back from their early season slump and are now aiming for a spot in Europe. But Cologne got their first win in a while with 3 points over Mainz last time out, and they got a taste of the good stuff, and they want more. Both these teams, I kind of like both of them, but since I'm wearing the shirt, I'm going for Cologne.
Let's do it. And those are your matches for Bundesliga match day 19. Let's take a peek at the table. Of course, we don't really need to peek at the top because it's obviously Bayern Munich, number one. They have 50 points on the number 1 spot. We're going to go in a little bit more detail here in a second on that. Number 2, best of the rest, as I call them, is Borussia Dortmund. They have 39 points. They are 6 points clear of your can it be number 3's Hoffenheim, who have 33 points. Tied with them with 33 points. And rounding out our top 4 is Stuttgart, also just behind them on goal differential. And then tickling our top 4 is RB Leipzig. They have 32 points, just 1 point behind them, trying to get into those Champions League spots. And if we look at the bottom of the table, you will see Mainz and St. Pauli both with 12 points apiece in the 17th and 18th spot, respectively. They are just trying to jump Heidenheim and get out of relegation zone and get maybe into that playoff spot for the relegation that Heidenheim occupies right now. One thing I wanted to say, we brought this up on the last episode. Bayern Munich, their dominance has 12 of the 18 teams in negative goal differential. Bayern Munich's goal differential is 57. The rest of the teams, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, do you know what their goal differential combined is?
Less than that.
It's 57, exactly 57. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's crazy.
They
have as much as number 2 through number 6, the only other teams with positive goal differentials. Absolutely insane. And of course, that's why almost everybody is in a negative goal differential, because they are also averaging 4 goals a game. Insane.
Yeah, happens, right? Whenever it's, I mean, it didn't happen 2 seasons ago, but I guess Vincent Company is the truth, as they say. Okay. Nothing else for me in the Bundesliga, Vic. Let's keep it moving along. Let's go to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
News and notes to move on. Oh yeah, the baked ziti. I just looked over, heard a chime, and I'm looking, man. Oh, the ziti is baked.
We have a baked ziti.
Yes, it is no longer just a ziti. It is a baked ziti now.
Let's go.
Congrats, boys. Congrats. All right. So some news and notes from around La Liga. And I mean, some of this is just, scraping the barrel for news here, but we're going to get through it. Pedri, Barca's young stud in midfield, injured his hammy in Prague and at Slavia Praha in the Champions League on Wednesday, and he'll be sidelined for at least a month. This time of year, the games are coming quick, and a month out means that he'll miss on at least 7 matches. Oh man, I just avoided a big sneeze into the mic, which is great. But yeah, he'll miss at least 7 matches. With all the crap that's going on, next piece of news, with all the crap that's going on with Real Madrid right now, they find themselves in a lawsuit over noise pollution in the Bernabeu neighborhood, or the neighborhood surrounding Bernabeu. Claims that the concerts they put on cause way too much disruption, and into the night that noise is going too long. They will have to fight it out in court. It's stupid, trivial, and I know as far as the football goes, nobody really cares. But the concerts, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because the concerts they host and the tickets, the merchandising, the concessions are a big deal when it comes to their revenue streams at the Bernabeu. So we'll see if anything comes from this, but just know that it is something popping off right now. Those old grannies, they don't like it, man. They want to go to bed early, and it's just not something that the Bernabeu is willing to do, Vic. Okay, let's jump into the match day.
Let's do it. And of course, we will start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for La Liga Match Day 21. And our first match is a classic number 2 versus number 3 as Real Madrid look to keep the winning streak going, but it will be a tall task as they visit Villarreal.
Villarreal have been very confusing lately. In their last 7 games in all competitions, they've only won 2 of those. And specifically in the Champions League, they're second bottom, as we were talking about it a few minutes back, with only 1 point from their 7 games. And they've lost 6 of those games, with one being a draw against Juve. And some of those losses, Vic, have been up against Pafos in Copenhagen. And some people would even say that nasty team, Tottenham Hotspur, who's not even good right now. But that's the weird stuff that we're seeing with Villarreal. But they were doing well in La Liga until they slipped up against Betis last week. And now it's Real Madrid. So I really don't know how to where to put this Villarreal side. I put this one on the matches to watch because Real Madrid are battling internally, and they're for the taking if Villarreal can get their shit together for one night. Because yes, Real Madrid are a big team; they're winning, but they are in more turmoil. It just doesn't look like that as far as the results have been, besides that one little hiccup in the Spanish Cup. But if they get blown out here, if Villarreal get blown out, it might be some bad news for the Yellow Submarines because, man, there's only so much painting over the cracks you can do.
And your second top match of the week is Real Sociedad, now bleeding red, white, and blue, taking on a surging Celta Vigo squad that has not lost since mid-December.
Reno Matarazzo, as his friends call him, my boy Reno, has brought La Real to life since taking over for Sergio Francisco in December. A draw against Atleti and wins over Getafe and the mighty Barcelona have San Sebastian buzzing with the Eagles' cry. But there's no rest for the wicked, as next up is Celta Vigo, who are arguably the hottest club in La Liga since they took down Barca, they being Real Sociedad. The thing that Celta have done well this season is limit the goals they give up, and that has let them stay in the fight in virtually every single game they have played. Now with the unity of the club and the fans after the debacle with Borja Iglesias, and I haven't really talked about it. I was going to do a short, and then I never actually did the short, and now I have some content that I was referencing that you can't reference because I never told you about it. But give me a second, I'll talk about that. But anyway, there was fans, and there's a big debacle with Borja Iglesias, and they aren't just playing well, but the whole aura around the club seems to be unified. It seems like a club that people want to go for right now. This will be a tough test for Real Sociedad to get a win. Luckily, it is that they're playing well, and they're playing in San Sebastian at home. But they've shown so much fight that I wouldn't count them out until it's too late. Until they show us otherwise. But Celta Vigo, man, they're going to be a tough team to beat. Just 1 minute on the Borja Iglesias thing. I'll put out a short, I promise, and it'll kind of go into more detail. But essentially, Borja Iglesias is known for being a little eclectic, as we shall say. He likes to stand up for all of the left stuff, the LGBTQ stuff, and just that's who he is. He's with the people in that sense. He also is eclectic in the way that he paints his nails going to games. A little bit like our Bears quarterback here in the States. There you go. I forgot his name for a second. But because of all the things he stands for as a person, as a human, Borja Iglesias, who by all accounts that I've read and I've listened to podcasts, he's an amazing human. He's a very nice guy. He just, he has his style. He got his style. But whenever he was playing, I want to say it was Sevilla, there were fans that were doing homophobic chants and had signs, essentially calling him some really bad words. And the teams didn't like it, and it was very ugly, very nasty things they said about him. And in retaliation, or not even retaliation, in unification with their guy Borja Iglesias, their captain, the fans at Celta and the club, they all put out a message that for their next home game, everyone comes with painted nails. And so essentially the entire Liga fans, everybody had painted nails for their next home match in solidarity with their boy Borja Iglesias, because he was pretty emotional at the abuse he was getting from the Sevilla fans. Also, like, That's not even really out there if he's actually gay. So why are you saying that stuff to a guy? Maybe he's just a ally, I don't know. Either way, just cool stuff from Celta Vigo. And that's why it's hard to go against them, because they are a team that they're standing for something. But they're standing against our fellow Americans. So Vic, I'm just up to watch this game as a third party. And I think I'm leaning Real Sociedad, but hey, if Celta win, more power to them. Okay.
One thing's for certain, the commentary will never get quiet during that game. They'll always have something to talk about at least. But
yeah, there you go. A lot of stuff going on.
Those are your top matches for La Liga Matchday 21. I almost forgot what match day it was. Let's go ahead and talk about. It's all right, bro. It's all right. It's your podcast, bro. You like attention? We give it to you, bro.
Love it.
Let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the match day, and it starts on Friday with a newly promoted battle as the surprise of the season. Elche held to Levante.
The mighty Elche have been so close to getting a win in the past 2 matches that they just couldn't finish the job. But now they get fellow newcomers Levante, who sit 19th in the club, or 19th in the table, and are fighting for survival. You would think that Levante feel like they should be able to get something from a team they played against in the second division just last season, but Elche have flown out of the gates in La Liga, and a win here establishes that they are just on another level.
We then move to Saturday, and it starts with your No Business Soccer podcast certified table neighbor match as Rayo Vallecano welcome Osasuna.
That's right. 2 table neighbors trying to get back on the right side of the mid-table, and neither have been able to build momentum in recent matches. I will say, though, that Osasuna feel like they've got more fight in them than Rayo at the moment, and I'm kind of leaning Osasuna, even though, Rayo was our surprise team of last season.
And our next matchup has number 5 Espanyol trying to right the ship as they head to Valencia.
Espanyol are winless in their last 3 games and are inching closer to being outside of the European places, and they have to take on Valencia at Mestalla. And while they haven't been in the Valencia team of old, any match at Mestalla is a huge advantage for Valencia. Man, it's going to be tough because Espanyol have been good, but this one's the sneaky top matchup to watch.
And then Saturday continues with 2 teams still looking for a dub this year as Sevilla welcome Athletic Club.
Athletic Club have looked like a shell of themselves from last season, and I guess same could be said for Sevilla, albeit they've been free-falling for a couple seasons now. But the Athletic Club side that took on Atalanta and Bergamo on Wednesday is not the one that's shown up in La Liga lately. If they can keep that same energy here, they can beat Sevilla easily.
And Saturday ended with your No Business Soccer podcast top matchup of the week. That was Villarreal and Real Madrid. We already talked about it. So we move on to everyone's favorite Sunday, as number 4 Atletico Madrid look to close the gap on the top 2 as they welcome Mallorca.
Atleti should be able to get this win fairly easily at home, but they won't, and it'll be close. And at the very end, Mallorca will have a chance, but ultimately Atleti will get it done, and it'll be, what was the word they used? It'll be tenser than it needs to be.
That's right. I forgot about that word. And then Sunday continues with the league leaders taking on the league doormat as bottom of the table Oviedo take on the reigning defending champions Barcelona.
Nice UFC introduction there.
I like
top
that.
Against bottom in the table, but Barca just lost out on a game. Out on a game they'll feel like they should have won. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's not a good place to be if you're the bottom of the table. Oviedo. Barcelona are coming in hot because they do not like losing. And Oviedo, like you said, doormat. They might get stomped on a lot.
And Sunday's next matchup was your other No Business Soccer podcast top matchup. That was Real Sociedad versus Celta Vigo. I already talked about that. So let's go on to the conclusion of Sunday as Real Betis are looking to add 3 points to stay in European competition conversations as they face Alaves.
Betis need to get it going with a big win. They got it going with a big win over Villarreal, but they need to keep it going this weekend, and they have a chance to do that against the side currently in the bottom 3 in Alaves. To stack up wins and to start climbing up the table again is really the goal here. Betis, they slip up in Europe at the midweek, but man, there's no consistency, but maybe they can start to get some in La Liga, at least in that Alaves. It's a bone thrown. How about that?
A bone thrown. I like it. We then move on to Monday Night Football, and it's 2 teams headed in completely opposite directions as Girona looks to make it 4 straight wins against the visiting Getafe.
Getafe are free falling towards relegation, and Girona are one of the hottest teams in La Liga at the moment. They can easily get 3 points here and sit right under the European places by Tuesday, which is just not at all where they were in the first couple months of the season. As I said they were getting relegated. I know I'm going to say it until it ends up happening where they're in Europa, or I don't know, maybe Conference League. We'll find out. But either way, Girona is definitely not aiming to be relegated this season. I'll tell you that much.
And that'll do it for your La Liga Matchday 21. And let's go ahead and take a refresher of the table. We have, of course, Barcelona taking your top spot. They have 49 points in the number 1 spot. Real Madrid are right behind them, just 1 point behind them with 48 points, occupying your number 2 spot. Villarreal and Atletico Madrid both have 41 points in the third and fourth spot, respectively. And then we have another jump off of 7 points with Espanyol tickling your top 4 in the number 5 spot. And we said a little bit earlier, there are levels to this game, as number 1, number 2 are 7 points clear of number 3 and number 4, who are 7 points clear of number 5, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, there's a lot of the space to make up, a lot of points to make up there on top. But at the bottom, if you take a look at the relegated threatened sides, we have Alaves in number 18 spot. They have 19 points. There is a 5-point gap between them and Levante, who are in the 19th spot. They have 14 points. And then Real Oviedo, like I said, a solid foundation for La Liga with 13 points. They're a little bit closer there on the bottom, at least for a number 18 spot. Because, I mean, if they get one win, they can jump as far as 12th spot, which is insane. So
crazy. Yeah,
the whole middle of the table from 8th is 24 points. Yeah, 5 points goes 18th. So it's 10 points. There are 10 places are just 5 points apart. It's pretty insane.
That makes for some juicy matchups.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Well, I think we've said it all in La Liga. Let's wrap this up so my boy can go and have a party. Let's go to England.
Let's do it to the Prem.
And funny enough, there's been no big notes. I mean, again, transfer window's about to shut in about a week, and we had some European matches, so no big things going on. I thought maybe we'd have a sacking in West Ham, nope, and Spurs, nope, and South London and Crystal Palace, nope, nothing. So we move on, Vic. Let's talk about the matches.
Sorry, Snooze. I know you're always hoping for sacks somewhere, but top matches and headlines, your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matches and headlines for Premier League Matchday 24. We only got one for you this week, but it's okay. It's the match that everyone's been waiting for, a hate watch for the ages as Manchester United head to Arsenal.
You're only saying that because you like Liverpool. Like, no one.
There's so many people.
Everybody hates this. That's fine. Fair enough. Yeah. All right. Arsenal supporters are starting to groan and worry about the lack of wins, and the 0-0 against Forest does not help. And a couple weeks ago, you would have seen United on the schedule and penciled in 3 points for the league leaders. But after the display that United put on against City, I'm not sure that's the case anymore, Vic. Of course, that could have been a one-off and a flash in the pan, but I'm choosing to believe that the winds have changed for United and that this will be the new team under Carrick for the rest of the season. There haven't been a ton of wins for the top four recently, but if United can do the job here, I think the title race can get a little bit tighter after this weekend, and that's who I'm going for. Obviously, a little bit of skin in the game for me as a Spurs supporter. But yeah, you're kind of right, because I don't care to see either of these teams win, but I don't like Arsenal more. So let's go United.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I have to agree with you on that one. But that is your only top matchup for Premier League Matchday 24. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day. And it starts Saturday as West Ham, fresh off a win, look to conquer El Gatos Negros Sunderland.
West Ham have some. I'm wondering how long you can keep these going. There's been
I got
so
a lot
many
more in the chamber.
Yeah.
Bro.
Okay. It's like this is like 6 or 7 in a row. It's funny every time. Okay, West Ham have some ground to cover. We need to do a short where it's like you're introducing all of them, and it goes. That'd be good. We gotta do that. West Ham have some ground to cover if they're going to catch Forest and get out of the bottom three, but they'll be looking to build off their win over Spurs. And next up is a surprise team of the season in Sunderland. But Sunderland aren't the same team away from the Stadium of Light as they are in it, at it, wherever you want to put that. Maybe West Ham can stack up some wins here. And Sunderland, the difference is striking, Vic, whenever they're home and away.
And our next matchup is a certified no business soccer podcast, Table Neighbor Tussle, as Fulham welcome Brighton.
I don't know why you had to say it that way. Mid-table neighbors. I was making fun of you, and I messed up. So anyway, who's drinking here? Mid-table neighbors go at it on both sides. They've just been okay recently. There's not like there's been one team that stood out. Just 3 wins in the last 10 Premier League games combined for these two teams, and we'll see who can get the better of who. I'm leaning Brighton, but we'll find out.
And Saturday continues with Burnley looking to hand Tottenham their second consecutive loss to relegation-threatened teams.
Okay,
that's it. Sorry.
Uncalled for, first off. This is the match that feels like a must-win for Thomas Frank or he's gone. Even with the big win over Dortmund at home in the Champions League, this one on the road needs to be a win. Burnley aren't great, but haven't lost in back-to-back games, and they make it 3 in a row here. It might be a different manager on the lily white side of North London if they can go 3 games unbeaten, because Spurs, I think anything less than a win, and Thomas Frank is out of there.
Next up, we have Man City looking to bounce back from the Manchester Derby loss, and it could get ugly as they welcome the lowly Wolverhampton Wanderers.
City just can't seem to win a game right now. And since the turn of the new year, Vic, Wolves just can't lose a game right now. So something surely has to give here. I'm leaning that Manchester City gets back on track. But again, I'm not, until Wolves loses and they make me believe that they're going to start losing again, I'm going to keep believing in them. Let's go.
Power to you. I think I have the opposite view on that one. We'll see. It's going to be fun to watch. But Saturday ends with Liverpool going on the road to take on number 15 Bournemouth. And honestly, I don't know what the hell is going to happen.
You know, you just made me think. Like, do I think that Wolves are better than Bodo Glimt, who just beat the shit out of Manchester City? You know, if Wolves played Bodo Glimt, I think that they probably win that game. So anyway, going to be interesting. Now I'm more invested. I'm more invested now. So, okay. Bournemouth and Liverpool, though. Okay. I'm not sure which way this goes either, because on one hand, Liverpool are right up there at the top of the tier of the table, but they haven't won a game in the Prem since beating Wolves almost a full month ago. That's in the Prem speaking. I mean, obviously they won the Champions League. Meanwhile, Bournemouth's loss of talent is finally catching up to them, and they just lost Semenyo for good to City. So, yeah, this is going to be a tough one to call either way. But, I mean, I just can't see Liverpool continuing to slide. There's no way.
We then move on to everyone's favorite Sunday, as Chelsea are looking to get back into European competition conversations, and they're hoping it starts with a win at Crystal Palace.
Good time for Chelsea to get Palace, who seem to be in a free fall with the manager and results spiraling out of control at the moment. If Liam Rossigne, or however you want to say his last name, can get another win here, what a start to life at Chelsea it would be.
And they Sunday continues with Newcastle, whose 2 wins and a draw somehow in their last 3 games make them easily one of the most informed teams, taking on the once historic but recently stumbling Aston Villa.
Newcastle are in a great run of form at the moment, and Villa are not. But they're never that simple. Villa have shown that they're tough to beat, but this one's at St. James's Park. I lean Newcastle, but this one should be fun either way, even though I found out that Newcastle have made up a quarter of all the 0-0s that have happened in the Prem this season. I believe there was been 17 0-0s in the Prem this season, and there was only like 12 or 13 last season. So we're barely halfway. We're already over that. So well over that. Hopefully there can be at least a goal in this one. Aston Villa have traditionally struggled very, very much. They've struggled very hard is what I was going to say at St. James's Park. So I think Newcastle can get the win.
And next up, we have number 7 Brentford looking to keep the dream alive as they welcome the lowly Nottingham Forest.
Brentford need a big bounce-back game after the loss to Chelsea, but Forest will be in high spirits after holding Arsenal to a draw. And then looking at the season as a whole, though, if you think Brentford have been bad in this past, or if you think they were bad in the past game, they've been way better on the whole. And that sounded weird. On the whole, they've been really better. No. This entire season, they've been better, is what I want to say. How about that? But we'll see who comes to play at the G-Tech on Sunday. I think that Brentford can get it done. Nottingham Forest struggled in Europe as well. We'll see.
And Sunday ended with your No Business Soccer podcast top hate watch of the week. That was Arsenal versus Man U. We already talked about that. So we'll go to Monday Night Football, and it's Everton fresh off a win, are looking to keep that energy as they welcome Leeds.
Dude, we talked about this a couple months ago. Why are Everton always on Monday night? I don't get it. It seems like more than any team, it is Everton all the time. It's the people's champ, as I think what Danny P. Oh, America's team, not the people's champ. It's America's team. That's right. The people's champs, as I said, on Monday Night Football again, as Everton take on Leeds at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. And this one will be interesting because neither side have really been great recently, but they're both coming off wins last weekend. You would expect that Moyes can get 3 points over the line for the Toffees, especially at home at the beautiful new home. But Daniel Farke's Leeds feel like they're cooking up something special for a second half season run, but we will find out because I feel like Everton can get this one done, Vic, but man, Leeds is a tough out.
And that's it. Those are your Premier League Match Day 24 matchups. Go ahead and take a look at the table just to get a refresher. Of course, your number ones are Arsenal. They're running away with it. They have 50 points. They are 7 points clear of Manchester City, who are tied with Aston Villa, of course, with 43 points as well in the number 2 and 3 spot, respectively. And then you have Liverpool somehow rounding out your top 4 with 36 points, just 1 point ahead of Manchester United, who are tickling the top 4 with 35 points. And if we take a look at the bottom of the table, you'll see West Ham United. They have 17 points there in the 18th spot, Following them is Burnley, who have 14 points in the 19th spot. And then the lowly Wolverhampton Wanderers still have not got double digits in points. They have 8 measly points, and 6 of those coming in the last 4 weeks, which is insane.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Absolutely insane. Another just quick note is that there's 5 points. So we need at least 2 more match days for any other relegation or any other team to be relegation threatened, as Nottingham Forest have 22 points in the 17th spot. And there's beginning to be a gap there, much like there was last season, where the bottom 3 were far and away going to be the bottom 3. So, yeah.
It sucks because even if Wolves win the next 2 matches, which it's going to be hard for this one because it's City, like they've been so shitty all season that they've pretty much already dug their grave. Like they have to win. I mean, and a lot of teams have to lose, and we're not even 3/4 of the way into the season. So sucks for the way that they started off, but it's going to be fun to see how close they can get.
Well, I'm hoping, not hoping. I don't want to say that to any Wolverhampton Wanderer fans who are listening, but if they do get relegated, I tried to get one of their kits. It was like $110, and then you had to ship it for like $20. I was like, oh my God. So if they go to the championship, a league below,
maybe you can get it cheaper.
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
Okay. Hey, my boy knows what he wants. And he wants a Wolves kit. Hey, if you send him one, that way he didn't have to give y'all bad juju.
Dude, we need a P.O. box.
Yes. P.O. box.
Are we there yet? I don't know if we're there yet.
That'd be pretty cool, though. Like, because we'll definitely, you can buy our love for sure. Like, maybe not too much in the Prem because we have established teams, but any other league, you can buy our love. Like, if you want to select your team, just send us shit and we will go with that team. That's our team. So, okay, let's get you out of here. Get you some drinks in your system for your party that you're throwing without us. So DJ, play our music. Vic, take us home, baby.
Everyone, thank you for hanging out with us and talking about some European football. And be sure to like and subscribe on every platform. Everything we have is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter. It's at No Biz Sock Pod because those names were way too damn long. Everyone, enjoy the football this weekend, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Peace.